Well, what's up, guys? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and today Nintendo discusses its E3 plans. So yesterday was a pretty cool day for Nintendo news because finally Satoru Iwata had come out and started discussing some of what we can expect and really what we won't be able to expect at their E3 press conference and their showing at E3 this year. This is pretty fantastic because we've all been wondering what's Nintendo going to do, what are they going to show. Obviously, as far as what they're going to do in terms of a press conference, live or otherwise, a digital event, a streaming thing, some sort of combination, that stuff remains to be seen. They've actually released a tweet just this morning that said later tonight they're going to finally reveal what it is they're going to be doing at E3, so that's just randomly awesome news. Very fortuitous that they released that information today. But as far as what they're going to be showing, that's been the big question because we know that they have a lot of games that they want to talk about for 2015. We had Zelda that we were expecting but was delayed till next year. They've talked about the NX. We know that they're working with the smartphone stuff going forward. There's all these different things, and it's a matter of what does Nintendo think is important to show at the show and to show gamers and get people excited at E3 this year, and they've finally given us a little glimpse of that. So what Iwata came out and confirmed yesterday was that Nintendo will absolutely not be discussing the Nintendo NX, which is their brand new hardware. They're not going to be discussing their mobile and smartphone plans and their whole partnership with DNA just yet. And they're also not going to be discussing the quality of life platform, this mysterious new initiative that they've discussed in the last 2 years, but not really given us any details on. And I have theories as to what's going on with that, but I have no reason to share that in this video today. I might discuss it later. But regardless, crazy to hear him confirm that these things are not going to be at the show. Now, ultimately, this all makes me very happy. Not because I don't want information on these things, because I absolutely do, but because, as I've said before, none of this stuff, I think, has a place at E3, especially this year. So here's a quick quote from Iwata where he actually discussed and laid out the idea of why they're not going to be discussing these things, specifically the NX at E3 this year. He says, and I quote, "We do not plan on talking specifics about the NX until 2016. Presently, we cannot talk about the time period, when it will go on sale, and what it's like. Because we are calling it a quote-unquote new concept, we are not thinking of this as just a simple replacement for the 3DS and the Wii U." So, pretty interesting information. There's actually a lot of information to take away from that quote if you were to read between the lines. Ultimately, what I think he's saying is exactly what I theorized in my Nintendo E3 speculation video, which was that this is just simply not the time or the place to talk about the NX. Now, of course, we know the NX is going to be important at some point, but having them confirm that it's not going to be discussed this year, I think is really smart. As I had said in that same video, I think that it would be detracting from what they're trying to do with the Wii U, and I like that he says it's not meant to be just a simple replacement for the Wii U and 3DS. We have no reason to talk about that now. What they're doing is they're making sure that we understand that the Wii U, I mean, the 3DS is obvious, but the Wii U also, that's the one that some people question. That is still their purpose and their focus. I think that they're comfortable letting that be, you know, half of their identity. They're known as the 3DS on the handheld space, and they're known as the Wii U on the console space. And I think that the Wii U should still have another 2.5 years in it, if not even longer, with the fantastic library it currently has and games that we know are going to be coming out soon. This system needs to be supported. Nintendo needs to make everyone feel like they can put their faith in the console and that Nintendo is still supporting it and that it has a justifiably long life with a lot of games to play. That's how you do it. You need to earn the trust from the consumer and from the gamers, and let us understand and believe that you believe in the Wii U, because the more Nintendo believes in the Wii U, the more other people will. And I think that's why a lot of people have stuck with it despite the fact it hasn't been selling as well as it really should be. And that's just because they have so many great games. So hearing them discuss the fact that it's not about the NX this year, and it's not even about the DNA and the smartphone stuff, it's about the Wii U and the 3DS, and that's what it should be. Nintendo had come out even in the last, I don't know, month or two, where they basically stated, especially when they pushed back Zelda, that what they're doing is focusing on 2015 games for the Wii U and 3DS at E3 this year. That's their purpose, and that is exactly what Nintendo needs to be doing right now. So I'm glad that they're not being boneheaded about this. They know exactly what's important right now to make the Wii U an important, viable system in people's eyes, at least for the people who don't believe that it is currently. This is the best way to go about it. Now, as far as the smartphone stuff, the reason I and a lot of other people have discussed this, the reason why I think it's good for them not to be discussing that this year is because that stuff really just doesn't belong at a place like E3. And Nintendo even said it. There's another quote from Iwata. I don't have it pulled up here, but he basically confirms this. It's E3 is a place for the dedicated console games, dedicated gaming machine kinds of games. That's really where these experiences should be showcased. That's the purpose of E3. And if you bring their whole smartphone plans to E3, you're kind of diluting what it's really about. And you're also going to be diluting your message to the gamer and to your system's fans, in this case, the Wii U's fans and Nintendo's fans. We don't want to hear about that stuff yet, or at least at E3, I should say. Don't waste valuable E3 mind share on stuff that really isn't important to us, the gamers who are going to be watching that show. And this shows to me that Nintendo recognizes it and that they get it. Because typically Nintendo, you know, as much as a lot of us love them and as much as I love them to death, sometimes they don't get it. And I could have seen this being a scenario where they didn't get it and they thought that they should spend all this time on the smartphone stuff. And everybody who would be watching E3 will be saying, boring, this is not what I want, blah, 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 talk about games. Talk about Metroid, talk about Zelda. That's what we want to hear at E3. And it's really nice to hear that Nintendo knows what's going on and they know that this doesn't belong. I said this when they first announced it. I think that what they will do is hold their own specific event or press conference or video package or something where they lay out what's going on with the smartphone stuff. I don't think it's ever going to be meant to be showcased alongside their traditional dedicated gaming machines and gaming software. I just don't think that that's what they're going to do. So this is fantastically reassuring to hear that. The quality of life, I don't know when we're going to hear about that. I feel like that's going to be a project that's on the back burner for a while and is slowly going to morph into something different and will eventually be revealed in the next couple years as, I don't know, whatever it's supposed to be. That's really hard to predict. I just don't think we're going to hear from it anytime soon, and I don't think that any of us are going to be able to guess what's really going on there. And so in wrapping up, I did find the Iwata quote that I was talking about, so I'm going to go ahead and read this so you can get an idea of where he's coming from. He says again, and I quote, "Incidentally, we're getting various questions for this year's E3, like, won't there be an NX announcement? Will there be a presentation on smart devices? Or will there be more on the quality of life platform? However, since we understand that E3 is an event for dedicated video game machines, we do not intend to discuss the smart devices as well as quality of life." So, pretty great news, you know. I think that, again, it really shows that they know what's going on. They get what the purpose of E3 is, and I think that this year they understand more than in previous years how important this show is going to be, especially with the delay of Zelda. I think they know that people might be having wavering faith in them again, and they need to show us why it's okay and smart to still believe in Nintendo and have your faith in that company. When it comes to the NX, I think it's pretty cool. I'll wrap up here. When it comes to the NX, it's interesting how he mentioned in that first quote that it's not meant to just be a simple replacement for the Wii U and 3DS. I think it's interesting that he both included the Wii U and the 3DS in the same conversation there. And he also mentioned that it's not just a simple replacement. He mentioned that it is a new concept. These are actual words that he used. So what the hell is the NX, man? I think that it's going to be... I mean, when you think about the new concept and that he rolled Wii U and 3DS into one, a lot of theories have been discussed that it's going to be something where a handheld gaming device that you can take about, but then also redock it into your home console device, and they're all kind of the same experience back and forth. Something like that might be going on, but it's a new concept. I think it's going to be a new way for different pieces of hardware to talk to each other. I mean, ultimately, I think that's what it's going to be, so that something to the effect of using your handheld and your home console as the same gaming experience device. I do think that that's what it's going to be. I think Nintendo's going to try to branch out their reach more than just segregating themselves as we have a living room box and we have a pocket box. It's going to be something that's kind of bringing everything together. Hence the merging of their handheld and console divisions a couple years ago. I mean, I think that that's what that's going to be. And I think that it's great that they don't want any of that right now to get in the way of the Wii U and the 3DS, and, you know, specifically the Wii U. This is the time to bolster the Wii U and show why it's a great machine. I mean, I say this all the time. I own and love all of the gaming machines, including a PC. I like it all, but man, the Wii U is easily my primary gaming platform. That is my gaming platform of choice. And it's because Nintendo makes a great machine and they have great games, and yes, the competition's a little bit more powerful, but I just don't care because the games are so good and I love that controller when it's utilized right. So, you know, everyone's got value, but Nintendo just has that magic. And this to me shows that they're going to be very smart going into E3. I cannot wait to hear what plans they're going to drop tonight about what they're doing at E3 this year, because I think, I don't want to jinx it, man, but I'm going to cross my fingers. I think they're going to knock it out of the park again this year. They may not have the best press conference and best showing like they did last year, but that's okay provided they still do and perform greatly, and I think they will. I think everybody's actually going to have a great showing. This should be a really exciting E3. I think everyone will be doing great things, but I'm glad to have that renewed faith in Nintendo and still believe that they're going to do great, because last year they were just monsters, man. They did so well with how they presented their E3 stuff and had so many games and, you know, streaming, Treehouse streaming the whole show. If they do stuff like that again, I mean, they might still walk away as the quote-unquote winner of E3 this year. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it, you know? So it's pretty cool to hear them confirm what's not going to be at the show. Typically, we would be bummed about hearing what won't be at E3 from any given company. But with this stuff specifically, and with Nintendo specifically, I think that this is all great news. I think it shows, like I've said, that they understand E3, they understand the audience, and they know what we want, and that's what they're going to give us. All right, thanks as always for tuning in, guys. Of course, if you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe to Rule of Two Review, like, share, and comment on the video below. I definitely want to hear your thoughts about Nintendo, its E3 plans, what they're going to talk about tonight. Do you think it's a good idea that they didn't want to discuss this stuff at E3, or do you wish that they were talking about it at this year's show? Share all your feelings below. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on another video for Rule of Two Review.